Coming at you nearly live and direct from the Stephen King state of eternal weirdness and frostbite, we proudly bring to you the mystical duo of all things bizarre and macabre, as they will serve as your guides on a magical mystery tour de la Jolla of creepiness. Welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow with your host, John and Stacey Edwards of ParanormalSideshow.com. Hello and welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow. I'm your host, John Edwards, and joined as always by my lovely wife, Stacey.
Hello.
And we are still here.
We're still here.
We're alive. We need some kind of party sound.
Yeah, true.
We made it through the eclipse.
Yes, there was no cataclysmic event.
No Thundar the Barbarian.
No, nothing.
I mean, no zombie apocalypse.
Right.
No false flag, power outages.
Nope.
Nothing like that. And for anyone who watches our vlog, well, a little shameless plug there. Anybody who watches our vlog, you would get that reference. There's a little bit of Thundar the Barbarian, and there's a little bit of the zombie apocalypse talk on that. And I want to talk about the vlog for a second.
Okay.
So the vlog is a lot of fun.
Oh, I love filming it. It's so much fun.
Yeah. So, around about 5-6 weeks ago, Stacey and I decided so much weird stuff happens, like we talked about on the show, that instead of talking about it just on the podcast, let's do a vlog.
Yes, let's film a little bit of it and show everybody what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's do that and see what kind of weird stuff, show people the weird stuff that happens.
Yes.
And of course, because it's John and Stacey, we can't just do that. We have to do that and also make our own little funnies.
Exactly.
As we go. So there is serious stuff on the vlog. There's really us going out chasing local legends. And
what I think is funny is sometimes weird things happen and we forget to film it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards we're talking about it. We're like, we really should have filmed that.
Absolutely.
We're still not used to, it's still new. So we're still not used to, turning that camera on every time.
Right.
But we'll get there.
We're getting some of it. And what was cool, and this is just a little teaser, the latest episode of the vlog is episode number 5. And it's the tower, the fort, and the curse. So you can find that on ParanormalSideshow.com. And I didn't scream that because that comes later. But you can find that on there, a link to it, or you can just go straight to youtube.com/ParanormalSideshow, and you can find our vlog. And so little funny thing that happened on there, Stacey does the editing for our vlog. She's the mistress of all the editing with the podcast and the vlog and everything.
Right.
So she was doing the editing for that, and she kind of outed me a little with some of my abilities. So I don't talk about them that much, and or really put it centerpieced. So we're watching a vlog back, and there is a part in this vlog that's completely 100% authentic. We were doing a daytime investigation of Fort Knox.
Fort Knox, man, great place. Love that place.
Awesome place.
Yes.
So we're going to have to go back and do the nighttime investigation there. But we were doing a daytime investigation just, for the vlog, really. And just sort of scouting the places before we actually investigate a place. If possible, we like to go scout and see the validity of claims.
Right.
So we were down in Battery B of the place underground. And there's a door, and it's funny because you can see me thinking when you watch the vlog, because I'm holding the camera, Stacey's exploring to the right, and you could see me look to the left.
And see the dark room with the big creepy door.
Right. I see the dark room with the creepy floor. And it's funny because my eyes are basically the camera, and I didn't realize that till Stacey pointed it out. So I look back to the right, I look back to the left again at the door. And I look back to Stacey, and I look to the door, and I go, hey, there's a room over here. So I decide, to put her in the room by herself, which she has the full spectrum camera. So I put her in the room, and she's mic'd up. She has the audio. She has the full spectrum. I'm outside with my camera, right? So I closed the door. She did a beautiful edit on this. And at first, you'll see that she's in there and she starts experiencing this pressure to her head.
Yeah, it was like this really, people say that sometimes on investigations that it gets heavy, and you can tell when
I say that.
Well, yes, you do, and other people say it because you say it. So there's just like heavy pressure, and you can tell when the energy changes and that kind of thing. And so it was weird because all of a sudden I started feeling this really heavy pressure around my head, and it like I could feel it on my ears.
Right.
Like it was just pushing in on my ears. It was the strangest sensation.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
And what's not strange because it happens all the time. And I was outside the room. I couldn't hear hardly anything that was happening in there unless she was speaking loudly. And I wasn't even whispering. So I turned the camera on myself because I could feel that Stacey was getting pressure on her head. And I point the camera to myself more for Stacey than anything, because I never used to do this. I would just tell her about it, but more and more she loves the stuff. So I wanted to show her, what was happening. So I turned the camera to myself and I point to my head and I start, experiencing the pressure on my head. And it's cool the way she edits it, because she shows what happens to her and then she shows me outside the room. And I'm pointing to my head, but you can hear her faintly in the distance talking about it after I point to it.
Right.
So you can look at it however you want. Either I cursed her.
I don't think so, because I was feeling the pressure before I said anything.
Yeah.
And in the vlog, little spoiler, when I'm in the room, what I did was I said, are you standing near me? Because I feel a lot of pressure in my ears, but I hadn't said anything up to then. So I showed all that, but then I showed you outside doing the thing where you're pointing to your head, but then you can hear me in the room say, are you standing near me?
Right.
Because I feel pressure in my ears after you had already pointed to your head.
Right.
So you were doing that right about the time that it was happening.
Right when it was happening.
Yeah, right when it was happening.
And then that makes total sense to us, but we've never really shared that out there that much, or showed that much, which is fine. It's fine with me. But we do a lot of other stuff on there. It's fun. Please, if you enjoy the podcast, please check out the vlog, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's we have a lot of fun doing it, and so we just pretty much record throughout the entire week. And
my head still hurts.
Yeah. So we're not going to quit doing the podcast ever.
No.
So no fear of that. But we thought that as a little bit of an extra, that we would let this happen, and it's been fun. We have other projects happening that are of the utmost secrecy, but we're always working on projects. So this one is not. It doesn't feel unnatural. It just feels okay having that on and filming our daily lives.
Right.
I enjoy it. But another thing I enjoy is paranormalsideshow.com. That's your address to go out and find everything natural. Facebook.com/paranormalsideshow, unnatural. Twitter, it's at sideshow97, supernatural. Instagram, hot natural dam. It's John and Stacey Edwards. And on youtube.com/paranormalsideshow. That's the place to find the vlog and to find episodes of our old documentaries, such as the Major Grand Mansion documentary that now has over 30,000 views. So if you're not one of those 30,000, shame. We all know your name. Please go check that. And when you're on YouTube, hit the like button and please hit subscribe, because every time you hit subscribe, well, it just makes us happy. And however you listen to podcasts, I don't know how you podcast. How do you podcast? Well, I podcast with iTunes, but iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, however you do it, it's there, kids. Also subscribe, listen, share it. And like I said on the vlog, if you like it, subscribe. If you don't like it, subscribe and just ignore the videos. It's one little video out of your whole stream of cat videos.
You'll never notice.
You'll never notice.
Yeah.
Just hit subscribe and find your friend's phone laying around. Pick it up. Go to the YouTube app and hit subscribe on there. It'll be fun. It's a fun game to play. Go through your whole family. Subscribe with your entire family.
There you go.
And they'll wonder what's going on. Find your preacher. Subscribe there.
Yeah, maybe that's not a good idea.
You don't think so?
No, maybe not.
I think we're one of the I think preachers dig us.
Maybe. I never really asked one.
Well, next time we find one, let's get him and ask and find out.
Okay.
We have a lot of cool legends we're going to go after this week. So one in particular I'm really looking forward to. I can't give this away.
No, don't give it away.
But
it's funny because every day I'll I'll get on my computer and I'll have messages from John. He'll be like, check this one out, see where this is. And I'll have to like Google map it to see how far away it is. So I can plan when we're going to go.
I'll be at work and somewhere around hour 7, I'll actually get a chance to use the bathroom or something. And a funny story, actually, this is not on the vlog, but I was doing an inventory at one of my stores, and I've been inundated with nonstop inventories lately, and it's been a terrible time at the Bruce Wayne job, where I've had to work unbelievable amount of hours. When I'm not working, I'm thinking about work and all that good stuff. So I was at one of my stores, and I honestly, sometimes I get so caught up in my work that I don't even think about going to the bathroom. So when I finally go, it's time to go. I was in this bathroom in one of my stores, and in this store, it was a very small restroom. Very small. So you can hear everything. It's one of those where you try to politely do your business as silently as you can, because you're like right next to everyone, So I'm being there, and I'm
big guy, little bathroom.
Yeah, big guy, little bathroom. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to, quietly pray to the toilet gods that I don't have some kind of blowout. I mean, come on. That's the one thing that being the boss, you don't want to show up at a store and go in and destroy their
bathroom.
Yeah, you don't want to punish their toilet, So I'm in there and I'm using the bathroom, and I'll be damned if all of a sudden there's this huge screech like a thunderbird had arrived somewhere, and I heard this screech and the walls start shaking. Okay. And nobody's screaming. So the only thing in my mind, because I stay on conspiracy sites all the time, is I think that Kim Dong Ding Along a Jing Jang has sent a nuke, and somehow it's made its way to Maine. Right. So it's just the first thing I think. I'm like, oh God, something's going on, but I don't hear anybody screaming. So did they all just drop dead? I didn't know what was going on. And,
and you were protected in that bathroom.
And it's one of those things where the shaking got worse and worse. And there was things shaking in the little bathroom that I'm in. And it's such a small bathroom, my hand's on the door because I don't trust the lock. That's how bad. And I'm not talking about a stall.
No, the whole bathroom.
The wooden door. My hand is on the wooden door because something else you don't want anybody to see is your boss sitting there with his goods. So I'm sitting there and it's shaking, everything's shaking, and it doesn't stop. 30 some seconds. So I pinch and run. You know what I mean? And I hate having to pinch and run, but I pinched and run, and I go outside and I'm like, what in the wide world of sports is going on around here? They're like, I don't know, Mr. Taggart. No, they everybody's outside. So they're all looking up, and I'm like, well, maybe this is it. Maybe the alien showed up and I was taking a crap. And I was thinking to myself, just for a split second, isn't this just how it ends for me? For me, isn't it fitting? The
aliens came looking for you, but you had to poop.
The one guy that has looked for it his entire life, it finally comes, and everyone else sees it, and I'm taking a crap. So I walk outside, and I'll be damned if right when I walk outside, 4 of the Blue Angels don't just buzz my head. They fly right over. There's an air show across the street at the airport that's happening like 2 days later. Right. The Blue Angels, who I had never seen live, are doing their thing. And I didn't even have to go to the air show because they go through their whole routine.
Right. They practice it.
Yeah. So anyway, if you've never experienced the Blue Angels buzzing over your head when you're trying to take a poo,
put it on the bucket list.
It is definitely a paranormal experience all on its own volition.
Well, especially if you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, it's time for some paranormal news.
All right, so let's get to the news. So we were already talking about...
Can part of the news be about your black slinky dress you just bought?
No, that's for date night
Yes. And
next weekend.
funny that you bought the dress yesterday, and I came up with a date.
Well, it was something we were going to do anyway, but
was.
I'll wear the dress.
Okay. Sorry.
Even if it's not highly appropriate, I'll still wear it.
It's appropriate for me.
So we were already talking about the eclipse.
Yes.
And some of the strange things that happened right after the eclipse and during the eclipse. There were a lot of strange things. It wasn't the end of the world.
Right.
But there were people saying that they, felt bad after the eclipse, people that were more sensitive and that sort of thing. I did see a lot of reports of that, although nobody really understands. I know there's people that feel bad during the weather.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell.
So,
like if you're a pro wrestler, or former pro wrestler like me, when it rains, you're gonna hurt.
Yeah, the joints are gonna hurt.
Kind of hard to tell. If you're highly sensitive already, it's kind of hard to tell. But I will tell you something before you get into this story that I've held until you did this story.
Okay.
Your sensitivity, young lady, has been very heightened since the eclipse.
It has.
And there's been things happening that through us doing the vlog, I've hoped that you've noticed that happened to you.
Right.
But there's been other things as well around the house and just in general. But your sensitivity and your abilities have honestly been very heightened.
Well, I think I can agree with that. I have a tendency to explain things away.
You do. You're very logical.
But some of the stuff that happened on that last vlog, I couldn't really explain that away.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
So, well, anyway, this story is something that happened right before the eclipse, and it actually deals with a crop circle.
Oh, great.
In the UK.
Yes.
Of course.
That's where they like to go.
It is. I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
They just have an affinity for there.
Yeah.
But this crop circle,
right,
kind of had an eclipse theme, is what people are saying.
Oh, so it's like the party planner aliens.
Yeah, they made it all fit.
Yeah.
So the crop circle had
Wouldn't it be cool if we got like Christmas trees and, Easter bunny crop circles and
for the season?
They just, we have like one little sect of aliens up there that are just like, oh, hey, it's our favorite time. Let's make a little bunny and
it's fall.
Yeah. And they're like, they're like, Alan, please. Not again.
Well, this particular crop circle, it actually had 3 circles that were concentric. So there's some people are saying that it's like the sun, the earth, the moon, because the eclipse.
Right.
And it does kind of look like that.
It does.
And then right off of the circles, there's like this tripod figure, has like 3 lines going out, but then there's blocks that have weird letters, that what could be letters, symbols, weird symbols.
They look like letters.
They do. It looks like a message. And some people have even suggested that the symbols could be Latin or Hebrew characters. But like I said, they're not distinguishable like that. Like nobody could look at it and go, oh, that says this.
No. All right.
But it was really strange. I think the orientation of it also, it kind of points towards an airport.
Right. It's points
very
directly
close
to an airport.
To an airport. So lots of theories on it. It could be eclipse related. It could be flying saucer taking off kind of thing. I mean, anything. It could be any of those things. It could be a warning.
Could be a hoax.
It could be a hoax. Exactly. Because that would be a good time for it.
Be a great time for it.
So I just, I'll link to the pictures. It's actually really cool. There's somebody did like a drone flyover of it so you can see it really good. And I think there are people that are trying to decode the message but haven't actually seen anything about that. So.
I will say that it's very well done. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go to paranormalsideshow.com and look at the link. It's very well done.
Yes. So
kudos, alien.
That's all. I didn't actually hear about any kind of lizard man sightings or Bigfoot sightings. Remember they had the maps?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where there was the possible thing. Now, those things could have happened.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I haven't actually seen.
Well, I'm sure there was
reports.
some Bigfoot sightings, but I haven't heard anything about lizard man. Lizard man tends to make the news more than the Bigfoot sightings these days.
Right.
There's an overabundance of Bigfoot sightings.
Right.
So they don't always make like the viral news, but someone sees a 6-foot tall lizard man, it tends to be talked about.
Yes, I agree. Okay, well, let's go on to another story. It's kind of an update.
Right.
No drum roll?
Oh, I'm
no
sorry.
drum roll for my
I'm
update?
sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right, so this is an update about the Bruno Borges guy.
Oh.
So the one that went missing after he wrote the weird coded books and his
Yes.
room was set up, and the police decided that, it was kind of a publicity stunt because his books are being published. I will point out that his first volume was published, and in Brazil it was a bestseller.
Oh.
And they've had to publish more.
Wow. That's
Yes.
great, Bruno.
Yes. So Bruno has reappeared.
Awesome.
Yes.
I am so
Are you
happy.
surprised?
I hope that he reappeared in a beam of light and had a couple of friends with him that were of non-human origins.
No, I don't think it actually happened that way. Basically, he was captured on security camera outside of his house, just walking up to the door. He's real skinny, just
Disheveled.
a little bit disheveled, yeah. And he just said that he didn't even know anything about all of this uproar, that he'd been disconnected, kind of on a quest to find some inner truth, like a vision quest.
On a
kind of
vision
thing.
quest,
Yeah.
right.
And that his main purpose was just to acquire knowledge for himself, and that he really didn't have any idea that people were freaking out, that he was gone, or anything about the books or any of that. I'm like, he just didn't know anything that was going on, is what he says.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, since he voluntarily vanished and then returned, he hasn't technically done anything criminal, so he's not in any trouble.
But
Right.
be nice if old Bruno would sit down with a lie detector.
Well, he did do an interview, and I'll put a link for the interview. It's completely in Spanish. But he did do an interview and he talked about it. And a lot of people are saying, I don't think he's genuine. I think it's a publicity stunt
Right.
for the books,
Right.
which it probably is. So who knows? But he's back.
Well, you know what? I've read worse books. So if that gets translated, I'm going to give it a whirl.
It's not been I looked it up. It's not been translated yet. So
I'm sure it will be.
I'm sure it will be, especially if it's still selling, if they're having to do more printings of it and it's still selling.
So let me just throw that out, playing devil's advocate. Maybe he thinks he went on a vision quest because that's the memories they put into him.
I mean, maybe. I'm not going to say that he didn't get abducted by aliens. He's a weird dude, and
Yeah.
he did write a lot of coded books,
Yeah. So
which is quite a feat.
exactly. So all this stuff happens to him, right? And let's just say, taking on stories of other abductions we know throughout the ages, that he was taken and they seen what was happening and put him back with a false memory of being on some vision quest.
Right.
You don't know. And I'm not saying, let's just say this. That's not what I think,
Right.
but it is a possibility, so we always have to look at these with an open mind and an open heart and really give someone the chance. Cause I would be pretty frustrated if something had taken me over for years and I'd written all these volumes of knowledge, what kind of egg would be on our faces like 10 years from now if this guy ends up being
Right.
legit, right?
Yeah, like some kind of prophet or something.
Then I don't believe that.
He did say in his interview that everything that he did, the main purpose for everything that he did and wrote and everything was for people to acquire knowledge and to seek to acquire knowledge.
Yeah.
And he feels like that's happened now. People are reading his book and they're, and looking into what he was talking about. And so I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, it could be a cop out.
Yeah,
Or it could be legit. I don't know.
it was bound to happen, especially in Brazil where the jeans are too tight. Eventually, the blood being cut off like that is going to do something to you in the land of skinny jeans.
I guess so.
So
either you're going to forget everything that's happened or
Right.
you're going to write epic novels.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
That's my skinny jeans theory.
Okay, so let's move on. So this next story is kind of cool. It's from the East Sussex coast, a place called Burling Gap Beach.
Okay.
The other day it was evacuated because there was this weird cloud of mist
That's called fog.
that not regular fog, unless it's like from a Stephen King novel
I'm just
kind of
saying,
mist.
it's England.
It rolled in and everybody on the beach started experiencing burning eyes and burning throats, and they couldn't stay on the beach. Like they had to get away.
Dear God.
Yeah,
It is
and
the mist.
The beach was really, really crowded because it's the middle of summer.
Right.
And I think some of the witnesses said that it cleared off in 10 minutes. Like everybody was just out of there. They have no idea what this weird mist was. And some people were like freaking out because they thought they were having like a chlorine attack, that kind of thing. But a lot of people, they actually went to the hospital to get treated because it was just, they were having such terrible irritation. And the weird mist, it just moved up the coastline for a while. Then I guess it just dissipated.
What the what?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't last very long.
That's very strange.
And they don't really know what it was, but it was about 150 people that had to be treated at the hospital.
Wow. That's very strange.
Yeah, I think it's funny that they call it a mist.
Yeah.
Because then all I can think of
is,
of course, it's the mist.
The TV series is on. And
I mean, there weren't weird animals in it, but, it was still...
Well, that we know of.
Yeah, it still hurt people.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, it could be a beluga whale fart for all we know. I mean,
so the police are saying this is probably an isolated incident.
Yeah.
They don't think it'll happen again,
know.
but they have no idea where it came from. So I don't see how they can make that claim.
I love when something really crazy happens and they ask the police who don't know.
Right.
And, officer, do you have a statement? And it's always the South Park. It's just like, nothing to see here. Move along, move along. I mean, it's just very nuts.
Well, they did say it was extremely unlikely that it was chlorine. They don't know what it is.
Because that had happened before. Chlorine comes across,
right.
The from some France, production facility or whatever.
Yeah, and they are working with France to make sure there wasn't a vessel or something that let that out. But I think people are back at the beach now because it's really hot there and it's all good.
It could have just been a big whiff of the French.
It's very strange.
I mean, you never know.
They all collectively raise their hands.
Well, yeah, it's like all those years of not believing in underarm deodorant finally made its way to England. So,
and it burned people. That you know what? I believe that because I've been at the store
in Walmart.
Yeah, in line behind some people that are obviously protesting deodorant for some reason.
Dude,
and showers.
I don't know why it always happens to us. But we'll be and we do not hide the fact. We'll be in Walmart and Stacey will give me the Iggy. She'll look over at me, and she'll just be like, and that's all I need is the first little eyes. And then I'll take the, and it's just like completely, I don't, and it's death. It's terrible. It's like a cross between, I don't know, man.
Well, this is the way it usually happens. Usually we go up and down the aisles, and usually there'll be somebody going up and down the aisles in the opposite way.
Yeah.
So we cross them in every single aisle. So it's like every aisle you have to hold your breath for a second. They inevitably always want the same thing you want.
Yeah, and happened
you have
to us.
To get really close to them to get it. And I think one time even we skipped an aisle
and
on
they skipped
purpose.
The aisle.
And they skipped the aisle.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It's happened to us for years.
Yeah, and they skipped the aisle, and then we're on the same aisle as us again. And we were like, holy crap, how do we get away from these people?
And it honestly, it smells like open butt. I mean, it smells, it's terrible. How do you not know?
Right. Now, I'm not talking about people that can't physically wash. I'm talking about people walking around that just don't care.
Yeah, no. And I'm also not talking about people who have an issue. There's actually problems with that. And there's a difference in body odor. Body odor is not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no.
I am talking about a freaking raccoon crawled up your behind and died 4 years ago. It actually came back to life a few times and tried digging its way out and did not succeed in this feat.
It reminds me of when I was a kid and I was supposed to take guitar lessons. Like my dad bought me a guitar and he wanted me to take guitar lessons, which I really wanted to do.
Right.
And my sister was taking piano lessons. And so my mom used to take us to this house where these old people lived when they were music teachers.
Right.
But they were old and they lived with like a bunch of cats and little ratty dogs.
Right.
And so their whole house smelled like cat pee.
Oh yeah, God.
I mean, it was terrible.
Oh.
And you know that they didn't know because they lived there.
Yeah.
Because that happens. You don't know what your own house smells like.
Right.
And it was so bad. I gave up the guitar. Like I was like, I told him, I was like, I just don't want to play. I didn't want to tell her that I thought those people smelled because I was too nice of a kid for that.
You're still too nice of a kid
and
for that.
I was just like, I don't really like playing the guitar. I don't think I want to do it anymore. And I didn't go back and do any more lessons because it made me want to throw up. I couldn't even concentrate on what I was doing.
Oh my God.
It was so awful.
And you could have been, right now I could be buying your CDs.
I don't know. I'm sure it happened for a reason. I'm sure I wasn't meant to play the guitar or something. I don't know. But it was just, I just remember that. And every time I smell that smell, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
And that one smell just turns my stomach.
And again, there are people who have actual problems. And I would never make fun of that. And there's people who can't afford to take care of themselves. These are not the people we speak of.
No,
we are talking about people wearing new clothes and
cartfuls of groceries.
Yeah, carts full of groceries. And for some reason, they decided that they were going to smell. Let me tell you, and I don't want to have a whole theme of bathroom on this episode.
Right.
But I have to tell you. So I had this friend who was gigantic. Okay. Just a very large individual. And he was a wrestler with me. So we spent a lot of time together.
Right.
And we actually worked at the same job when we were not wrestling. And so because we spent so much time together, we were in the bathroom together quite a bit.
Okay.
So he would sometimes smell like poop. And I would have to be stuck in these rooms with him because we worked security.
Right.
And when we would work security, sometimes he would just smell like poop. And I would be in these no air running, and,
right.
and I loved the guy. I absolutely loved the guy. So I didn't want to say, hey man, you smell like dookie, So I was in the bathroom with him, and I was actually using the urinal, the stand-up urinal. And he was taking a number 2. And it was really weird because I look over and the guy is about 6'7". Okay. Huge guy. So I look over and I see his head over top the stall. Right. And he's kind of moving around, his head's moving around. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, and he looks at me, like when somebody looks at you knowingly, like you're the moron.
Right.
And he looked at me and he's like, I'm wiping. What do you think I'm doing? And I'm like, you're standing up, man. And he goes, well, yeah, that's the only way you wipe. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I thought he was joking. And he was like, got angry. And he's like, you wipe when you stand up, moron. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no. You wipe while you're sitting down. I was like, you're not going to get it all.
Yeah, so you get down in the crack.
Yeah, and he was like, no, I've done this since I was a kid. I was taught this way. This is the way you do it. So I just go over, wash my hands. I leave, and I knew. From then on, I knew I didn't have to say anything. I wait about 3 weeks, and we're sitting together, and I'm just like, I'll call him Bob. And I'm like, Bob, we need to talk. And he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I need to talk about your hygiene practices. And he goes, what about my hygiene practices? Because the guy is very clean. He washes his hands all the time. He takes multiple showers a day. He's very clean. Except
he's probably trying to figure out where that poop smell's coming from.
except for the atrocious smell of of feces.
Yes. I'm with you.
So I try explaining it to him and the mechanics of it all to a guy who is in his mid-20s. And
I kind of wish I had been a fly on the wall for that conversation.
Well, there was a lot of flies on that wall. So just to let you know, they were there for you to pick from.
Right.
But anyway, that's a little side note, funny story.
That is pretty funny. I was just sitting here trying to figure out exactly how we got into that conversation. What story did we just talk about? I don't think I remember. Okay, let's move on. Anyway. Okay. So let's go into a UFO sighting.
Let's.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we cannot involve poop in this story in any way.
Right, no poop.
Okay, so this is just a UFO sighting that was submitted to MUFON. I just thought this was interesting. I thought I'd point it out from somebody that actually saw what they said was a UFO buzz by the Capitol building on Fox News. And they took a video of it off their television, like they
Right.
use their camera to
Right.
tape their television. And so I'll link to this. You can look at it. And it's like there's doing a news story. I don't know what the news story is about, but they're just showing the Capitol building. And all of a sudden you just see this silver thing just shoot right in front of the camera.
Right.
So it's a little strange. They slow it down in the video because, you know, a lot of times you think those things are like bugs
Right.
or birds or things like that, but you actually can't see any kind of wing action going on.
Right.
Maybe it's like a Frisbee or something like that, just in front of, you know, people
Right. No, I got
playing
you.
around or whatever. But it is still strange. It does have a metallic look. So I thought I would just link to it and mention it in case anybody else saw it. I don't know who else is watching Fox News when they're talking about the Capitol. But definitely look at the
with
video.
an eagle eye anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know, you don't really even have to have an eagle eye. It's right there, blam, right in front.
Well, that's very interesting. But, you know, it goes back to an uptick of UFO sightings when there's an eclipse or something like that. It's not that there's more. It's that everybody's looking up.
Yes, more people are looking.
So the Capitol building is one of those buildings that is always filmed. Probably 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's a good bet there's a camera, live camera on that facility.
Right.
So if there's going to be UFOs go by, you should be able to see them, you know?
True.
So it's inevitable. But hey, that's what we all want, right? Isn't that the old cliche? We want to see the UFOs land on the White House lawn.
Yes, exactly. And that one, I'm sure that there's probably a logical explanation for it, but I just thought it was cool that, you know, somebody caught that and turned it in, and you can go look at it and
It's
see what you
probably
think.
my friend Alan, the alien who had just got fired from his British job of making crop circles, and now he's been caught on Fox News. It's been a bad week for.
Did they decide that the crop circles were too telling?
Yeah, they were like, look,
they're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
No, it's got to be a little bit more cryptic than that. Sorry. I don't know what you're thinking, Alan.
Okay, so let's move on. All right, so this next story is about the man that Donald Trump has appointed as the USDA chief scientist.
Okay, the agriculture people?
Yes. And his name is Sam Clovis.
Right.
And I think there's some controversy around him right now, but that's not what this story is about.
All right.
This story is about an interview that he did several years ago. I think it was 2014. Because he actually used to be an F-16 pilot in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
You know, back in the day, I guess.
Right.
And so he was doing an interview with Who Radio.
Who?
Yeah, that's what it's called. And they were talking about how he was in the Air Force, and it was kind of a lighthearted conversation, but they did ask him if he had ever seen any UFOs.
Oh.
And so he did say that he hadn't technically seen a UFO, but when he was up one time flying, that his radar actually locked on something that he says could not have been anything that belonged to us. He said it was doing things that our technology couldn't do. It was like flying toward him at a speed of like 5,000 miles an hour.
Holy cats.
Just insane. And then it came to a complete stop and then reversed away in the other direction, going just as fast. Yes. And like I said, he didn't actually see the object, but he did have it on radar. And so what he did was he just turned the radar track over to the official. Like he just reported it. He said, I saw this.
And they're like,
Here's
we'll be right on this.
Yeah. And I don't guess he ever heard anything else about it. But, you know, he did have that experience. And so there's stories going around. There's always been the stories going around of the people that are trying to get the president to disclose and all that stuff. So I guess they thought it was interesting that now there's a person in, the administration that's had a UFO encounter.
And guess what?
What?
He could be, all over crop circles.
I guess he's good.
He's the agriculture guy.
That's true. That's true.
No, that's really, I love whenever we get somebody, whether this guy's qualified or not, absolutely put him in there. We need all the UFO people we can get. So
well, I just like the people that are in esteemed positions because he was like a university professor. You know, he had good jobs, senator, candidate, or whatever, and he didn't care to talk about it. You know, he was just like, I had this, and this is what happened, and I turned it in, and
and that's what happens when you actually have a paradigm shifting event. You don't care to talk about it.
No, and you're like, that it's true.
Yeah.
regardless of what anybody else says.
Be damned to all those who, think otherwise.
Exactly. All right. So I want to move on to something that you actually mentioned in the last episode.
Okay.
But we didn't really talk about it because I didn't have a news story on it. So I didn't want to try and elaborate on it until I knew what it was.
Right.
And this is that weird thing that happened in Brazil where the ocean receded.
Okay. Yes.
And I think we just kind of mentioned it in passing, but it was a very strange event.
It really was.
And there was no explanation for it. I don't think even they still know what happened. It's like the ocean went out sort of like it does when you'd have a tsunami.
Yeah.
Only there wasn't a tsunami.
And everybody was like, oh, and they took off running.
Yeah. Because if you live near somewhere, there's going to be a tsunami, you see the ocean pulling out, you're hightailing it out of there.
Brazil's a very silly place.
Well, I found this article, and it's not like something that's being talked about everywhere.
Yeah.
But there have been videos posted on YouTube, and this guy found all these videos and kind of put them together because they all happened at the same time.
Right.
That weird Brazil thing where the ocean went out happened, and almost exactly at the same time, on the other side of South America, near Chile, they were having huge waves, floods, big tidal waves, not tsunamis, but just it was flooding.
Right.
The waves were
and I believe that was
unbelievable.
Dabu 7.
And I think, there's several places.
Yeah.
And so they had no explanation for that.
Right.
So if you're looking at South America, Brazil's on the right and the water's going out. Chile's on the left, the water's coming in. Almost at exactly the same time, kind of like the Earth's a bowl and somebody tipped it.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's no stories on it. Like this guy found the videos, and these things are happening because this article has all the YouTube videos of just regular people filming what's going on.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to link to this so you can watch, because he's got the Brazil stuff there, and then you scroll down, and then there's the Chile stuff, and the dates, coincide, and it's very strange.
Yeah, and let me tell you, people. They are trying daily to diminish our abilities to get this kind of news out and discredit it. And before the whole fake news thing happened with Trump, they were trying to say it was actually his administration, I think, trying to say fake news. It was people trying to say fake news on the other end.
Right.
Anyway, there's the fake news, I think, originally started going toward the conspirators, and there are fake sites out there that try to say aliens attacked yesterday and all this stuff. But on YouTube, I love YouTube. I love going through and finding these people who care like we do and put countless hours. If they were being paid for what they did, which they're not, they would be millionaires because they're putting countless hours in. There's guys that go out there and Screen Cap One, I believe is his name. They just go and watch the live feeds of the lunar stuff and the sun and
record it.
And try to find these little things.
That's very time consuming
because of their passion and because we have the ability to do this. So the cool thing right now, it's a great time to be someone who studies the unexplained and looks for things that doesn't buy what they feed us. It's a perfect time to be us, because if you actually peruse YouTube, it's not going to come up in your top recommended, but you're going to find you're going to find things out there where people are posting these videos, and I applaud anyone who puts one and one together here, and finds out explanations. All this stuff should be on the news. You know what? As we talked about before, mysterious booms should be on the news every time it happens, and it should be the only thing we talk about. The crop circle should have probably been somewhere, and we should have had a team of scientists out there trying to figure it out. But it's not going to happen, kids.
No, because they just blow it off. Well, this is starting to fall under the category of conspiracy theory, because even the people in South America are, if you translate some of the comments, they're like, oh, well, they have a weather controlling machine and, and that's what they're feeling like this is. And it's funny because there are actually other videos that we watched, I think the Secure Team 10 guy picks up stuff every now and then that's really relevant. And his was not about this per se, but it was about some other story where there were some weird radio waves that supposedly went down towards Antarctica, but it went right by this area.
Right.
Now, he didn't have these two stories, like these two videos.
Right.
But he had that. So that's something else that maybe could contribute to this. It could be something different.
You have to add it all up for yourself and do the research and look at it. But there is strange things happening. They've been happening for a number of years now. Is it weather manipulation? Is it, I don't know. It's crazy. Whatever it is, it's crazy. And there is strange times. I mean, from sinkholes to fireballs to mysterious booms and all this type of stuff.
Right.
Strange things are happening. Gas,
absolutely.
Gas coming on beaches. It's scary.
It is. And to kind of stay on the same theme of the whole weather manipulation, which I personally believe can be done.
Oh yeah.
I know people scream HARP and stuff and, they're supposed to have stopped doing that. But, I feel like that's something that is still utilized, even though they don't admit it.
Right.
But there has been a strange thing going around now about the Hurricane Harvey.
Right.
That just happened, which is terrible.
Terrible. Absolutely
terrible. I feel so bad for those people in Texas. But a weird thing that you can see, and this is more videos that I'll link to, but there were some anomalies on the radar, like the weather radar. And the first one that you can see is this guy had his cell phone and he was watching, I guess he was in the area, and he's watching the hurricane come down. Now, the hurricane hadn't even made it to land yet. It was still out in the Gulf. And he was looking at Corpus Christi, Texas. And his radar was flashing like, what it looks like when there's a lot of rain. It's red and green.
Right.
So that would flash on there in a big circle and then go away. And then it would flash on there and then it would go away. And then it would be on there and then it would go away right over Corpus Christi. Like it kept doing it over and over.
Huh.
It was really strange, but the hurricane wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
You could see it off to the side. And so he was like, I just thought this was really strange. I wanted to film it. I don't understand what's happening. It looks like, something's exploding here or something.
Yeah.
It was really strange. So then if you go down in this particular article I was reading, there is another video of a different person looking at radar on his computer.
Right.
And he is also showing that the hurricane's off. Off the coast.
Right.
And he's looking at Corpus Christi. And it's the same kind of thing happening, only on his, it's coming up as actual circles, like concentric circles, looks like a bullseye.
Right.
And it's flashing on there, but then it's going away. And it's coming on there, and then it's going away. If you can play the radar as it goes, it's on, off, right there at Corpus Christi.
That's
circling
really
the city.
weird.
And it's very strange. It's really something you should look at because I've never seen anything like that. It was such an anomaly.
And if we have any weather people listening to the podcast right now, or scientists that can explain this, please comment on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know if that's something that can happen because it's very strange. And then, you have all the people that are talking about how the hurricane got stronger and that was very unusual, how it stalled.
Oh, it was very weird.
Over Texas.
I mean, and it's still, at time of this recording, this is still happening. And then now they've had some levees break. They were like 35-foot levees, and now the water is over that coming over. They had the Army Corps of Engineers out there trying to help that, and that's not helping. The water's rising, and the flood event from this is horrific. And, will be, I've seen reports that, FEMA's planning on being there for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Very strange.
That's strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just know that I don't think I've ever heard of a hurricane that hit land and got stronger. I just thought that was very weird.
No, normally they dissipate. This one not only got stronger, it slowed down to an absolute crawl. And right before it hit, the eye wall was so perfectly circle.
Right.
You don't see many like that that are so perfect. And I hate to call it a perfect storm because it's terrible.
It is.
And if you can donate to the flood victims, I implore you to do so. I think we will actually put up a link on our website to, for the ones that we're going to donate to. Stacey and I like to make sure where we're donating is reputable.
Right. It's legitimate. It's legitimate.
Roscoe's Flood Relief. Roscoe promises to take, and honestly, that sounds bad, but there is this con artist guy that I was friends with at one time, and also from that other business, from wrestling, who was supposedly taking up loads of food to West Virginia when those floods were happening, and was taking, and I just knew this guy. I knew him.
That's terrible.
I knew him well enough to know that there's probably 9 trailers worth of food for the next few years out back of his house. So
he's digging a shelter and he's stocking that with canned goods.
So please stick to the ones, but the thing I love about this, and I want to get political just 1 second.
Okay.
I posted something about this on my Facebook, not on the Paranormal Sideshow Facebook, on my personal Facebook. It was something that got me thinking. Now, I love being, and we've talked about this before on the show, I love to be part of a crisis situation. I love it when things are going all to hell. And it's a weird thing. There's probably some kind of name for it, other than being psychotic, but I know you. So there's a reason though, and I want to get to that because I couldn't really put it into words before. But I love moments, except for the bad things that are happening to people. I love the moments when we come together as human beings, because we forget about race. We forget about color. We forget about creed. We forget about religion. We forget about political affiliation, and we talk to whoever's beside us.
It's all about surviving.
And it's all about surviving and helping one another. And we see somebody who we may not agree with, and they are in trouble, and we pull them out of the water. And that humanity, I wish it didn't take a natural disaster to pull us together as that. And Ronald Reagan famously talked about, it's one of those clips people, especially UFO people, play. And he talked about it in the 80s. And he said, just imagine, I believe he was addressing the UN.
Right.
And he's like, imagine what our world would be. And I'm paraphrasing. I really don't know the exact words. But if we faced a threat from outer space, okay, we faced an alien threat, and how we would come together as one. And I'm not saying I want a one world order, not at all. And nor do I believe it could ever be possible. I do not believe we could ever get along that well, because, we're just all idiots. And
our country can't get along.
Yeah.
How are we going to get along with other countries?
Well, the difference is our country has everybody. It's a melting pot.
That's true.
Other countries don't. A lot of your other countries, they're all that nationality. America has always was based and formed on multiple nationalities coming to this nation. And so there's a lot of, unrest, and there always has been. Unfortunately, there probably always will be. We won't be part of it. But the thing that always gets me about these situations, the only beautiful thing I see in these situations is people come together. And that's the videos like I look up,
where people are helping each other.
People are helping each other. But, it just makes you stop and think, we're not that bad. When the cards are on the table, we're not that bad. All hope is not lost.
Right.
Our gut instinct for the majority of people is to help one another. And I just think it's a shame that it takes a natural disaster to do that.
That's true. But all right, well, I will put links up for all of this. There's actually 1 or 2 other videos of some weird radar anomaly things.
So there was more?
Well, there was the one other one, I think that you and I actually watched it together, where the clouds came apart and there was like a weird thing that shot up in the air. Puff of smoke,
yeah.
And I don't know if that's really anything, but it is weird. And it happened in that area at the time when the storm was getting very more
Organized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff. I don't know. You have to make up your own mind about it, but definitely go and look at the videos, check out the anomalies, see what you think.
Absolutely.
I mean, you never know. All right. So I've got a few more stories here. And these are always my end of the news stories. So I love these. These are my favorites. All right. So this first one I just thought was something that was interesting for history buffs, people that are interested in things that happened, in the past that they study it. And this is about Alan Turing.
Okay.
And he actually was the one, they made a movie about him, and he's the computer guy. He's very smart. He, Enigma machine, broken the codes, World War II, all that.
Yeah.
So they actually found a bunch of his correspondence recently, about 150 letters that was in an old filing cabinet at the university, I think in Manchester. And they found him, and nobody had seen him for, I guess, years and years and years. And they found him a couple months ago, but they finally cataloged them and made them available for people to look at. And it's basically just things on his ideas, things he was working on, artificial intelligence, computing, mathematics, stuff like that. I think they did say that there was one letter where he declares that he had an invitation to speak in the U.S., but he wouldn't do it because he detested that country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he wasn't fond of Americans. But I just thought that was really interesting, especially for people that study that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because I really liked that movie. I thought it was really interesting.
It's a fantastic movie, but I think the actor had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, probably. All right, so this next story is about a woman named Marge Paget. And she has bought a home in Independence, Missouri, and it was actually the home where Ginger Rogers grew up. And she is a huge fan of Ginger Rogers, which is why she bought the house. And she is actually changing the house into a museum.
Okay.
For Ginger, which I think is very nice.
Very cool.
And she's having it redone and, turning it in. And so she actually was talking to an interview with this paper because she claims that she saw the spirit of Ginger Rogers in the house.
Oh, wow.
Because it was her childhood home. So she said she was standing in the room that Ginger was born in, and she just felt this presence.
Yeah.
And she saw this foggy mist, and it kind of shaped into what looked like a woman in a ball gown.
Oh, okay.
And
well, probably her.
And she said that she could actually see her face and all, and that she had a pleasant look on her face, and she felt like she was very happy that they were doing something nice with her home.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I thought it was a really awesome story. And of course, you had all these people who are like, oh, it's a publicity stunt for her museum, but the museum's not open yet.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be open for a while. So
there's always going to be those people.
Yeah.
Okay, just enjoy the story, people.
Yeah, but I thought it was a cool story, because it's very possible thing that could have happened because of course she would be super happy that somebody was making a museum to her in her childhood home.
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
I love it. I love that story.
Could you imagine being a fan of someone so much that you would buy their childhood home and turn it into a museum? I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, like we can go buy like Chris Cornell's childhood home or
The list is endless.
The list is endless.
Okay, so this next story is actually about the movie It. Which we are going to go see when it comes out and do some other fun things around that.
We are.
But this is...
Because you're going to be wearing that dress.
I will wear the dress.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a story about a place called Alamo Drafthouse, who is actually having a screening on September 9th that has been slated for clown attendance only.
Oh.
So.
Oh, no.
So only clowns or people that are dressed like clowns can attend this screening of It. Could you imagine? I wouldn't want to go.
No.
Sitting in a whole movie theater full of clowns watching
That's
It.
like a nightmare. Are you kidding? No. God, no.
But it's actually just a thing they're doing. And believe it or not, and this isn't going to surprise you, some people are actually upset.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, they can't be included. I believe that...
Because they identify as a clown?
I guess. So what happened was...
Get over it, people.
This same place, this Alamo Drafthouse, actually did a women-only screening of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Just as a thing. It's just a promotion. It's just a thing.
I remember that.
Yeah, and people were like, oh, well, what are you going to do when Thor comes out? It's going to be men only. And
I think Thor would still qualify as women only.
I think think so too. And some people were like, "Oh, well, if they show Hannibal, it's going to be serial killers only." You know, just stupid things.
I mean, me personally, I would rather go see Wonder Woman.
And I was just like, and the people were like, at first, the funny thing is they got the idea from the Wonder Woman thing because people were upset about the Wonder Woman thing, and they were like, "What are you going to do? Like a special clown only thing of it?" And they were like, "Hey, that's a good idea," and then they did it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really funny.
I hope they do like a vampire movie.
But, you know, I just thought the outcry is just so silly. It's one showing of the movie. You know, get over it.
Here's the problem.
Get over it.
There's a great thing, as I talked about earlier, about everybody having a voice. Mm-hmm. It's also a bad thing.
It is.
You know, these are things I think before the age of the internet, a lot of people would have kept to themselves.
Right.
And you wouldn't have heard that much, and they wouldn't have organized anything around this.
Right.
They might have been upset about it and said it, you know, once.
Right.
But they would not have organized something to be against it.
Well, here's the stupid thing that they don't understand is it's for clowns or people willing to dress like clowns.
Yeah.
We could go. We're not clowns, but if we put on clown outfits, which I would never do, we could go to this event. It's not being exclusive.
Right.
It's just saying,
kind of like going to see in Rocky Horror.
Yeah, it's just like saying, hey, dress like a clown and you can come in.
Participation.
And they're actually doing this whole thing. They're doing face painters for last minute touch-ups and a photo booth and raffles and just they're making it fun.
Yeah, it does sound fun.
Sounds really
except
cool.
for a dark room full of freaking clowns.
I want to see a picture of the...
No, I don't. I don't want to see it. I don't care to see it. I don't. No.
Well,
no.
We're going to see it.
I am sensitive toward everybody and everybody's belief except clowns.
We're actually going to go see it.
I know. We're going to see it. Yes.
In the city.
We're going to go see it in Stephen King's hometown.
Yes. I'm so excited.
You know, so we're going to go see it on the night it premieres. Mm-hmm. We're very excited about that. And we're going to, of course, probably, you know, since you've listened this far into the podcast, we're probably going to go by his house for the vlog.
Yes.
Since he's decorated, I think.
Yes, I think
you're getting to that.
There's some bookstore that's decorated.
Yeah.
So we're going to go check out all the hot spots. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Stephen King's my favorite author, by the way, if you guys didn't know that.
I am sitting here beside 4 stacks of Stephen King books.
And that's not even everything. I don't have some of the most recent stuff I still need to get.
Yeah, ever since I met this chick, and we're talking 20 years. Stephen King's her dude.
I love his books.
Yes.
Okay, so very last story. So this is a story that came from a little paper called the Little Hampton Gazette.
Is it actually called the Little Hampton Gazette?
Little Hampton Gazette.
Aw.
Yes. And it's about some feline disappearances in Burpham, England.
Okay.
So this little village in England, the cats are mysteriously going missing.
Is there a mischievous looking dog anywhere near?
No, I don't think so. But it's a really strange mystery because it's been happening over and over. They can't find the cats. And most of these cats are microchipped, but they still can't find them.
Oh, my God.
So it's very strange. The owners are really upset. They have no idea.
So hold on a second. Mm-hmm. If it's microchipped, does Fluffy's little bleep just disappear? Or
it didn't say. It just said that it mentioned that most of the pets were microchipped, but a lot of them haven't been found. One woman actually hired a specially trained sniffer dog to find lost cats.
I bet that dog hates his life.
The dog was able to discover traces of the cat's scent, but couldn't locate him. Now, here's where this gets really strange. So, weeks later, they found the cat in a field. They found that one cat in the field. The one that the dog couldn't trace, that nobody had ever seen, that was microchipped, was just in a field in the village there. Was
it rocking back and forth holding the baby doll?
It doesn't say. And it doesn't say if it's behind her or anything. I mean, it didn't say. But
oh no, I hope the aliens aren't like making hybrid cats.
But it's very strange. And so they're just asking if anybody has any information on this mysterious cat disappearance. The first thing I thought when I read it was ritualistic stuff.
Yeah, except they found the cat.
Except, well, that one cat. There's been several that have gone missing.
So that cat escaped.
Over the months. Yeah, that cat was... got away from the torture.
They could make like a cat action movie about that, you know? The one cat, like Mr. Wiggleson, he escaped and wanted to tell us all, but we couldn't understand cat language.
That's
really weird, Stacey.
It is really weird. That's what I thought too. See, this is just a little story and nobody really said a lot about it, but I find it highly unusual.
It is.
Because it's been happening, over the whole past year where they just keep going missing and nobody finds them. And then this one cat they find. But, I don't know. Why microchip your pets if it's not going to work?
No, it's very strange.
It is very strange.
That needs to be followed up on, and we need to contact somebody in that town
and ask them if it's still happening.
Yeah, we just need to get some kind of international pen pal there. I want to find out more about this, this disappearing cats.
Well, to me, I felt like it was like sometimes I'll read stories and I'll just be like, that's kind of weird, but it's probably nothing. This one I just think I think there's something wrong there. Something's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a cult, it could be alien.
Do we know the number of cats?
I don't have it on this particular. I kind of condensed the articles for the show. I don't think it said several. Okay. So I know there's at least 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
Maybe more. So I'm not sure.
All right.
Maybe I'll find out. Well, that was all my news.
Wow. Catascular. Thank you. All right. Well, there you go. Kitty, kitty, bang, bang.
We ended on a good upbeat story.
Oh, yeah. Missing cats. That's a lovely story unless you're a cat owner. At least you didn't end on the clowns.
That's true. I did have to put the clowns in there, though, for you.
I tell you, I apologize for the poop. So for so much poop in this episode. But no, once again, the vlog. Mm-hmm. If you haven't checked it out, please go check it out.
Yes.
We enjoy doing it. And as we do the podcast and enjoy bringing it to you each week.
I promise you won't be disappointed because there is some good evidence on this one.
Oh, yeah, there actually is. Mm-hmm. And, we have some fun on there just like the podcast, but we do a lot of serious stuff. We're actually gallivanting all over the place.
Yeah, we do that anyway, so we figured, why not film it?
Yeah, I mean, we always like to run down. One of our favorite things to do is run down legends.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there's the gray lady of the seacoast or whatever, we like to get right at the time that you're supposed to be able to see this person and put ourselves in that situation. And that's just fun for us. So we'll go all up and down the East Coast. Yeah. Just trying to hunt down these legends, so it's a lot of fun for us, but we thought we'd bring you along in our weirdness and our high strangeness. But for more on that, you can definitely go to youtube.com and /paranormal sideshow and just subscribe and watch the videos and hit like and again subscribe because that would be really cool. But for if you want to find a link to any of this, all you have to do is go to paranormalsideshow.com. That's your address for everything vloggy. Facebook.com /paranormalsideshow. Not as much vlog, but I do share from time to time. On the Twitter, it's at sideshow97, and on Instagram, hot. It's almost time for the NFL. Damn, John and Stacey Edwards. And again, if you listen to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, however you listen, that's how we will be. We will find you if you don't find us. And somehow we're going to figure out how to just, put our podcast onto your phone without knowing. Well,
you'll just wake up one morning and there it'll be.
Yeah, it's just going to
playing while you sleep.
You know what? iTunes did that one time with U2 and it didn't work out very well.
No, that's true.
Because it was U2.
Yeah. True.